football fans, Gooners. The usual echo is here. Let us get that out of the way. This is Shotta, your host, and my good friend Blackburn George, Ars blogger from the Positively Arsenal blog. And absent again from the second week is our analyst, scout, agent, Ehab. Ehab is traveling, and we miss him. We miss his insights. But as usual, George and I, we've been doing this, George, together. We've been together for 15 years. We can do it on Ehab for 2 weeks, can't we? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right.
All right. Good to see you. So, George, we have Watford on Sunday, fresh after our demolition of Leicester. We got a lot of pushback, George. And I just want to say that you and I are probably the rare people to say that we got a hammering for 70 minutes, and nobody wants to hear that. But that is quite... We are happy that we have the points. I want to say that right up front. We're happy that we scored the 2 goals. We're happy that we're up to 5th. We're Arsenal supporters. But I'm a little concerned that people don't seem to think that the performance of the last 70 minutes is something to be concerned about. What are your thoughts?
Well, they are. It is something. Hang on, what's happening here?
Yes, you have an echo there. Sounds good. Keep going.
It is something to be concerned about. But we've been that bad, and there is an improvement. Obviously, people don't want to see anything other than the improved results. So I understand it. It's always going to happen. And us moaning about people getting carried away won't stop them getting carried away. That's because that's what they want to do.
And that's so football.
It goes. That's football. But, however way you look at it, results have got better.
Yes.
That whether we're playing better, how much we're playing better, we are playing better.
Agreed.
That's a fact, because 3 out of the last 4 games, we've had spells varying from 20 minutes to 45 minutes in games where we've looked pretty decent. And that's something that we haven't seen before.
Correct.
So you can't say that's not an improvement.
Especially after Brighton. Mm-hmm.
How far that improvement will carry us remains to be seen. But I think it'll carry us through tomorrow. I don't think we'll lose tomorrow. I think we'll win. I think we'll win, and we'll play quite well tomorrow. They will be confident. Winning does breed confidence. It's like if you're a boxer and you go in for a fight and you get beaten up for 11 rounds, battered all over the place, but in the 12th round you knock him out. You're still confident. You still won the fight. Yay! And nobody cares that you got beaten up for 11 or 12 rounds.
Yes.
And nobody cares that Arsenal get beaten up for most of the games that we're playing at the moment, because the results are in our favour. And let's be honest, we'd rather have the results in our favour than play well and lose. So I understand everybody, and I see where we are, and I see where we might be going, but we just have to keep some realism about where we can go unless the standard of football improves. And let's hope it does.
Yes. Well, so tomorrow coming up is Watford, the Hornets. And Georgia came up automatically from the championship. They were second place, scored a lot of goals, but that's not the same team. And I want to bring fans' attention to the fact that maybe they're all most of our listeners, whoever our viewers, probably know this already. But they have an ownership, the Pazzo family, that likes to trade players, likes to build a team, likes to sell off players, make a profit on them. But they have they're trying to professionalize and make Watford a more stable outfit. And I was reading Clarkey who does a series of tactical stuff for the Premier League, and he remarked on the fact that they have some of the three of the fastest strikers and are set up for a counter-attacking game. Have you seen anything of them, George? What do you know of them? Do you think they're coming up to Arsenal to roll over and have their tummies tickled and to be victim number 10?
I probably know as much about them as I do about quantum physics.
And we are very real here.
I've seen them the odd game. I've seen how bad they've been. I saw them beat Everton 5-2. I thought that was a strange result because Everton were on top, despite the fact that they didn't play very well for most of the game. But freak results happen. Ranieri's come in. They've lost two of his 3 games, I think.
Yes, he's won 1 and he's lost 2. He lost to Southampton 1-0, which was they were not very happy, and they lost to Liverpool 5-0, which is par for the course of most teams at the bottom half of the table. When Liverpool get them either home or away, it's a hammering.
So I don't really know, So for us to speculate, we've no idea how he'll set up. He'll probably set up to play on the counter because that's the type of manager he historically has been.
Yes.
I can't see him going into a relegation battle and doing anything other than that. So it'll be us for once controlling possession, which will be a nice, pleasant change. And we'll see where we go from there. But no, I mean, speculation on my part as to how they'll play or how well or how badly they'll do. I suspect they won't play very well. They haven't played very well up to now. Why should they all of a sudden start playing well against us? But it would be just our luck.
Well, they have been playing better since Ranieri came up, George. And Ranieri, as you know, loves a 4-1-4-1 formation. That has been his favorite. And by the way, people, Ranieri has had 1,200 games at the top level. He won trophies obviously at Leicester. He even won trophies at Chelsea, and he's had won titles and honors, taking up teams in Europe. So this is obviously he's no amateur, but he's a counter-attacking. He loves a counter-attacking style. He got tagged with the tinkering label when he was at Chelsea. So he's gonna come. The point I want to make is that Ranieri doesn't mind not having the ball. All he wants, as we know, he wants his team to be very efficient. That's losing on our Arteta term here. Very efficient. Once they have the ball, counter-attack with speed and score. You remember that year with Leicester? That's how they won. Of course, whenever Vardy went on and got tripped, he got a penalty. And I think he got about 10 penalties just by doing that.
More than that.
Well, I think it was 12, actually, because he got the golden boot. But a lot of that was penalties. But that aside, that is how they play. That's how he plays. And I think that this is how he's setting up Watford to play. And he has players like, and I'll share some names, and I'm relying on Adrian Clark's preview, George. They have Joshua King, who scored the 3 goals against Everton. You have a guy called Ismail Sarr, who's is lightning quick.
Good player.
Right. And another guy called Dennis, an African dude. And I saw him score 2 near post goals, and he made sure that he was within eyesight of the goalkeeper before he scored. So this is a team that can score. And that is a threat to us, don't you think?
Yeah, of course. We're not playing well enough to think we can roll any team over.
Yes.
Apart from maybe Norwich. Or we haven't been up until now. But I still think we'll have enough, I do. I think the confidence is up. We are playing better. Every game, the periods that we play better are extended. One day we're going to turn up and we're going to play well for 90 minutes. It might be tomorrow. I hope it is.
Yes.
It'll certainly suit us the way they set up. I think, although you could argue the opposite, that maybe we're better on the break and we've been getting results when we've been dominated on possession. But we didn't do too well against City and Chelsea when they dominated our possession.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a simple equation, is it? Let's just hope that we play well.
Well, not only that too. I mean, I think I should have to speak about Watford's strengths. The concern is their defending. Their defending apparently is suspect. They have still. I'm not even so sure of the players there. I don't think Cathcart is really a defender. His name is the only one I recall from their last campaign. But their defending is suspect. I mean, but they have lost. I mean, apart from Liverpool, George, and people are carrying on. I mean, they drew with Newcastle, lost 1-0 to Leeds, lose 1-0 to Southampton. So these are not. I mean, it's not blowouts. The big defeats are to Southampton. So I mean, their names might not be household names, but apparently there's concerns about their defending, and the likes of Aubameyang and our good French fellow there who needs some goal, Lacazette, could have some fun on Sunday morning. Well, my time is Sunday morning, Sunday midday.
Well, let's hope so, because if we win this game, going into international break,
right,
we'll be well fixed, because one of United and City are going to drop points.
Tomorrow they have a game on tomorrow morning, right?
Tomorrow morning. So
yeah.
So no, it's today, isn't it?
It's today, actually. Yes,
today. So one or both of them are going to drop points, which is, if we get 3 points, will put us nearer to them. I mean, we're not competing with them for a place in the top 4,
right?
But the feel-good factor will, from being closer to them, will just help promote all the good feeling and the goodwill towards the team at the moment, and that's a good thing. You see, what we mustn't do is be so set against Arteta and the way we've been playing that we don't accept that there's light shining now at the end of the tunnel. There was no light before, there is now. And if getting closer to the top 4 will obviously make that light shine a bit brighter. And that's got to be a good thing, you know. It's now possible, in my opinion, that we could get top 6. I never thought that up until 2 or 3 weeks ago. And despite the fact that we've not been playing top 6 football, we're certainly getting top 6 results. So,
yeah, I've been thinking about
go along with it. You know, things will work out as they were, but let the club do all the. I mean, there's a PR piece just been released today on Mikel Arteta.
Really? There's always a PR piece on him, George. Go ahead.
It's an interview. I think Amy Lawrence has done it.
Yes.
And it's up on the Arsenal Player about Mikel and his family and his dedication, and, you know, typical fluff piece from Amy. There's also one up about Josh Kroenke. So the
really?
they're cashing in on the goodwill. And why wouldn't they? I mean, they have to make hay while the sun shines, because it's been dire for 2.5 years. So why would they not take advantage of it? And people are getting on board. More and more people are going back to being tolerant of Arteta. It was, the tide had turned against him. It's very rare that you can turn that tide back. It appears to have been turned back. That's not a bad thing. It's always better if the fans are behind the team and the manager. I mean, most fans are behind the team all the time anyway. This is what annoys me, that if you criticize the manager, they'll say, oh, you're against the team.
Exactly.
No, the two separate entities. You know, I don't like Arteta. I will never like Arteta for what he's done. I think he's an egomaniac, but that doesn't mean I won't like him for what he's doing as a coach. If he coaches us to a successful team and gets us playing for good football, as a coach, I'll be fine with him. I won't like him as a person, and I don't think I have to. I don't think I should be asked to. You know.
Yeah, well, people conflate. People conflate this that you must be automatically loyal to the manager in a personal sort of way. And the thing about it is that these are the same people who will. I remember, George, when I came up in 2018, and before that, I mean, these are the fans who will worship a player in 1 year and then turn on them within weeks and months. When I came up in 2018, this is nothing new. They were singing Mesut Ozil in all the gates, trying to sing, who could sing the loudest. And 1 year into Arteta, they were swayed. These very same people declared him to be persona non grata. So why is it that you people decide that a manager who's important to the team, critical to the team, is above criticism? I don't. I'm sorry. As people know, I'm not into that. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, but it's the old thing where you pick a side and it's the same with blogs and things. You see it now.
By the way, George, hang on a second. I need to make a major announcement here. Guys, that noise you hear in the background is Cookie snoring her head off since the start of this podcast. Keep going. You didn't.
She's not actually snoring. She just makes a noise.
Is she? Oh, and she's up there. Oh my goodness. That dog is loving it at the window. Keep going. Yeah, George. I've been wanting to tell the audience that because I've been wondering what that bellowing is all about. Go ahead. You must have forgotten your trend of thought. I have.
Oh yeah, blogs. There's a lot of blogs coming out and podcasts, swinging behind Arteta, ridiculously swinging behind him positively. And then there's a lot swinging behind him negative or against him negatively. And people pick the sides. And if you want to be popular, you be one or the other.
Yes.
This nuanced assessments in the middle takes you nowhere if you're trying to be popular and gain followers,
right,
and listeners or whatever. And
tell me about it.
You have to accept that. That's the way it is. You watch they have it in America, don't they, with Fox News and CNN.
Right.
Two extreme bookends.
Right.
And who tells what's in the middle? But they're the ones that people quote and reference all the time, and it's the same here with our newspapers. You've got the negative, the Labour ones, and you got the Conservative ones, and there's no middle ground. You can't find a middle ground, and it's like that with the Arsenal sphere at the moment. There seems to be very little middle ground where you can say, look, we were bad. We're getting better. I hope we get better still. Mikel Arteta made a lot of mistakes, but he seems to be getting more right. All that sort of nuanced thinking is no good. He's either got to be shit or he's got to be fantastic.
Yes, the king, the Arteta is king syndrome. George, I think we've gone 19 minutes. I know there are podcasts and blogs that keep going and going and going, but I don't think there's more to add to this one, but I would like to just ask you a question. You spoke about top four being more not top six, I'm sorry, more within reach. But the Conte signing at Tottenham shows, and it's a very short-term appointment. I'm sure there's a clause for him to be reappointed maybe at the end of his 18-month contract. But they are in for the short term, meaning that Levy wants to be back in the top four. Certainly, he's not doesn't want to be out of Europe. So this adds more spice to the top six fight, don't you think?
Yeah, it just adds another name. But I mean, let's be honest, they were only out of the fight for a few weeks.
You're correct.
In the beginning, they were being touted as possible champions because of 3 odd results that they got.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, and it's the same. It was the same with Arsenal. It's the same now. They were getting results 1-0 that they shouldn't have been getting. They were lucky results.
Yes.
And Arsenal fans pointed that out straight away. Oh, they got outplayed. Oh, they only won 1-0.
Right.
Yeah. It's happening with us.
Yes.
And the same fans don't want to accept that logical thinking. All the metrics are against us. And they are. But let's not go down that rabbit hole again. So, yeah, Tottenham are back in it. So, but having said that, Everton seems to be dropping out.
Yes,
so,
they
and Villa have certainly dropped out.
Oh yes, I noticed that. Losing yesterday to Southampton 1-0.
So there's some coming up and on the rails, and some have fallen at the last hurdle. So I think it's the same sort of number of people we're competing with, but we're competing from a much stronger position because of the results that we've got, warranted or not, earned or not, lucky or not, doesn't matter. We've got them. We are where we are. And from this position, we now have a good chance to get top 6.
Well, George, it's very early in the game, actually. I mean, I know that we're guilty of that, of making assessments, but it's just, 11 games? It's tomorrow? This is a 38-game season. There's a long way to go.
And the point I keep making is it's a 38-game season, and the underlying metrics, if they stay the same, will eventually come into play, and results will be reflected in that, and we will struggle because we are on most metrics, we are bottom half of the table, not at the bottom of the bottom half, but middle-ish bottom half.
Well, one
on the metrics, and if they don't improve, that's where we'll end up. Because as night follows day, eventually those metrics kick in, and you get the results that reflect those metrics.
Well, George, that's one interesting metric that I didn't get to share with you because I didn't want to sound altogether negative. But it is improving, by the way. Before I give this figure, I want people to understand it's slightly improving by virtue of the results that we saw recently. But we are creating 0.7 chances per match. And Watford are creating 1.4 chances per match. 0.7, okay, you have had more wins than Watford. They're a better team. But if you keep up at that, it's going to catch up with you. What is really happening is your goalkeeper is keeping you within the matches, keeping you within the games, as Ramsdale did last game, and hooray to him. But I'm long enough in the tooth to know that your goalkeeper cannot keep you in games forever. And you made the point on Twitter this week. Your defenders cannot be that busy constantly. You're going to give up goals. And that is, I think that's what you're referring to when you talk about.
I'm referring simply to the fact that if your goalkeeper is making 8 saves,
yes,
and is the busiest keeper in the entire league, you cannot then say that you're defending well.
That's the point.
You can say your goalkeeper is outstanding. Your goalkeeper's done brilliant, but you can't say we've defended well because we've kept them out. You defend well. A team that defends well, its goalkeeper is very, very quiet. That's why great keepers are great keepers, because on the odd occasion that they're tested, they rise to the occasion. They don't need a lot of practice to make the big saves. That's why keepers are great. Keepers that only get tested once a game rise to the occasion. You look at Jordan Pickford. Remember when he was at Sunderland?
Yes, he was keeping
them in Sunderland, I think. And his goal got peppered week in, week out. He was making dozens of saves week in, week out. And everybody was ranting and raving about him. But you're not telling me that meant the defence was good.
Of course.
You know,
they were relegated.
They were relegated. And it's the same. You cannot possibly have Ramsdale getting man of the match 2 out of 3 games and say that we're defending well.
But I just want to bring it back to the point you're saying that when you have to be defending so much, that's not a good metric. You see what I'm saying, George? Because that means
I understand that as well. Yeah, you know, if you're being dominated and making a lot of saves, last ditch clearances, you know, eventually these numbers come to bite you on the bum. You can't keep. I mean, he has 100% save ratio at the moment.
You're right.
Madness that you think that can continue.
It's not sustainable. I mean, you know, goalkeepers suffer from fatigue, and just the law of averages catch up with you. And
that's the point. It's nothing to do with fatigue.
Yeah.
Eventually, the law of averages. I mean, he made that brilliant save against. Was it Madison?
Yes, Madison's free kick.
Madison's free kick. Absolutely wonderful save. No question. 9 times out of 10, that's a goal. But I'll tell you what, there was another 1.5 yards towards the corner.
Right.
If it had been 6 inches further that way, it wasn't like he picked it out the top corner.
Mm-hmm.
He saved it 1.5 yards from the upright.
Right.
If Madison had now, what I'm saying is, the next time that happens, it's going to be another 6 inches and it's going to be a goal. No matter how good he is, he's not going to be able to save it. It just happened that ball was just within reach and it could easily have been well out of reach.
You remember, I thought about this, by the way. Do you remember Santi's free kick
in the cup final?
Yes, against Hull. What was the team? Hull?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember how it was keep going away from the keeper? He barely got he had a fingertip to it, George, but he kept going away from the keeper, which by the way was the brilliance of the free kick, because he said Wenger told him that goalkeeper, you need to go left and you need to go to his upright, and that was. But the point you're making is that if that free kick was kept going and going away, as brilliant as you are, it's going to be difficult to see. Anyway, George, I think that was brilliant.
Actually, it turned in towards him rather than going away from him.
That's my I thought about that.
You see, you will get criticised for this. It was a brilliant save.
Yes,
but it wasn't in the top bins. And
right.
Another 2 or 3 inches, and he can't save it. And it's a goal. And those things will start to happen. They will.
What? The thing that concerns me, I want to get away from. Why are we the only ones who really make this point? I'm not the only ones, but nobody wants to admit that. It concerns me. No.
Because we're 2 miserable old bastards.
Yes. I think you're more right about that than anything else. George, you know what? We have been horrible at this, so we're not going to predict score lines, George. But what do you, in your analysis, you think that this could be a close game? This is a victory for us. I'm sorry. You think that this should be a victory for us?
I think we'll win. I think we'll win quite comfortably.
George, I think it could be close. We should win the game, but I think it will be close. I don't think Watford. I think Watford is a better team. But, that's all I will say. I think it will be close. George.
Okay.
Let's call it a day. We'll do our match review. We're horrible at predictions. Let's admit that. Thank you, George.
And don't forget, people.
Like and subscribe.
Comment.
Yes, comment.
Subscribe. And very importantly, comment.
We had a few comments last time around. I want to thank commenters. Our good friends and new subscribers, and George and I don't mind that we and not on either extreme. But make some comments. Tell us what you like and what you dislike. We really appreciate that. George,
Okay. Bye
thank you
then.
very much. And we see you post game, most definitely.
Bye.
Bye.